are you able to work on campus or off campus during the summer?
Oh, that's a good question.
Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Abigail, aka Jollof Nurse. So if you're new to my YouTube channel, I share nursing videos. I share videos about my experiences here in the United States as an immigrant. And I also share ideas for an help for nursing students. And with me here today, I have a special guest. Her name is Goodness. And please introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, my name is Goodness Israel. I am currently an ICU nurse. And I think that's pretty much it.
Yes, thank you so much. So, Goodness here today. I've been getting a lot of questions on how to become an international student in the United States, studying nursing. And because I am not an international student, I can't really help with that. So I decided, why not get an expert to come help us? So that is why Goodness is here today. She's going to help us and walk us through how to get admission in the United States as an international student from Nigeria, to be precise, how to be in nursing school, and eventually how to get a job because she has been successful with it. So please share your knowledge with us.
Thank you so much for having me. So I don't know where to start per se. Do you have like a specific question so I can
Yeah.
start that way with?
Yeah, definitely. So I want you to walk us through the beginning, like the admission process. So starting from Nigeria, because I know a lot of people have dreams from Nigeria. So starting from Nigeria, how were you able to gain admission into the United States, school in the United States? Did you use an agent or did you do it yourself?
Good question. So, I started with, or the whole admission process, I had worked with an agency. It's called Education USA. I believe they have a branch in Abuja and Lagos, if I'm not mistaken. So I had reached out to them and they pretty much would prep you in terms of like the SAT process on how to, study for the exam. They they had like a list of different schools that were interested in having international students at their school. That also had the nursing program included as well. So yeah, that was the agency that I used, and we're pretty much good with helping me work through the entire process.
Hmm. And how long did that agency take? How long was the process?
Ooh. So I came here in 2016 for school, and I feel like it depends on when you start the process. Like if you want to start in fall semester, it could be different. If you wanted to start like in spring semester, I know a few people that started in the summer as well, but the main, semesters are fall and spring. Um, I don't remember the exact like month I had reached out to them. I'm thinking somewhere around like November, December. Um, so I came here in 2016 for school. So I think I had started like 2014 December. I think. I have to double check to be sure.
2014?
Um, 2014 or 2015.
Okay.
So 2016 I came here in July. 2015. 2015 was when I began the process.
2015.
Um, and then I took the SAT. So I'm not from Abuja. I'm not from Lagos. I was actually born and raised in Jos. So I had to move to Abuja for the process. And I think I was there for about 4 months in Abuja. But I was always practicing the SAT questions, practicing the essay writing, because at the time you could, take essays as well. And I think the score at that time was like about like over it was a total of 2,400. But now I think that has changed, if I'm not mistaken. So took the SAT, and then normally based on your SAT score, um, they would recommend schools that fall within that
Within
range. So
that
let's say
sense.
if you had a very high score, of course you have more alternatives, right?
Chances, right?
But if your score was like, low, it's like, okay, which schools can take me, and then which schools had funding, which schools had scholarships, because they tend to help, look for schools that had some type of scholarship, opportunities for us. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I was just about to ask you if you needed to write an SAT, and you answered that. So do you know if people still need to write SAT right now in 2023 to come here?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know if you have to. I know like usually most schools would have a list of requirements. So they may tell you, okay, you have to write the SAT, you have to take TOEFL. They would even put like certain scores they need you to have. So I would just advise to check, whichever school you're interested in, check their international student portal and see, okay, what is the requirements, how long does the process to take? Because even when you write the SAT, you get an offer letter. They have to send you I-120. They have to send you different things, and just look at the entire thing for that particular school, because every school is different. Now, I've heard that some schools don't require you to take SAT, but a number of those schools do not offer scholarships. So you also have to look at it. If you're looking for scholarship, what is the school, requiring you to do, and follow suit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because I mean, I feel like we all want scholarship, and if you want scholarship, you have to be willing to do what they want you to do. But just to clarify, because like I said, I didn't go through that route, I don't really know. What are the subjects on SAT?
I don't know what the new one is, but I know you have to
Oh,
take some type of math, some
okay.
type of English, and I think essays are not required anymore. Like you can
Oh,
take
okay.
SAT with essays, you can take SAT without essays. Um, I don't know if they do some type of comprehension, like like an audio type test. I have to check. But this is everything I'm saying is from my own
Way
personal
back then,
experience,
yes.
way back there. So I'm definitely sure that things,
I've
must have
changed.
changed. Mhm.
Yeah, and because you said that, I also want to say one more thing. There's no legal advice being given here. We are not legal experts. I'm not education agents, and I'm also not trying to advertise any agent per se. She's just talking about our own personal experiences. Might be different for someone else that you know. So I don't want to hear, it wasn't like that. Might be different, might be different, might also be different for you when you start your own. This is just like a guide to help us through, okay? So another question I have is, I also think you kind of talked about it, is when you talked about scholarship. Were you able to get a scholarship immediately while you were in Nigeria applying to schools?
Good question. So I did I got some scholarships that were based on my GPA in secondary school. Now, for whatever reason, they used my WAEC results, like my like a summation of my GPA in high school, to be more specific, in in senior high school, or let me say secondary school, like your what, GS SS1 to SS3. They didn't really look at GS1 to GS3. It was more of like,
Okay.
okay, we want to see a summation of what you did in SS1 through SS, 3. So I had sent that. Um, and then they wanted to know if I was involved like in my community as well. So it was like, okay, so do you do community service? And I'm like, oh, yeah, we used to volunteer to clean gutter. We used to do some
Lava.
things. I used to go to church and help with, the children's school and stuff like that. So everything that you can put to make yourself look good, right? I think I added some of that. And then they also wanted to look at if you were, well, some schools, not every school, it was like, okay, if you were active in sports. So I think if you are, very athletic and you want to have like a scholarship for sports, that would be a good thing to add. So summing everything, they used that to give me the scholarship I had, but it
Nice.
was a merit-based scholarship. It wasn't full funding. It
Okay.
was partial funding, but it was called International Merit-Based Scholarship.
Nice.
So I had that. Then they had one other type of scholarship, but when you added everything, it still wasn't paying like the full amount. It was just okay. excellent scholarship here, this one here, small, like maybe, let me not say small, because
I
money
know
is of course,
it's a big
so even if
thing.
it's like, my dear, even if it's like 1,500,
Mhm.
for, most of the scholarships were reoccurring scholarships. So,
So it was every
when
year.
yes. So sometimes they'll split it. So let's say if it's like 1.5, it would be 750 per semester for fall and spring. And then sometimes it would be okay, they'll just give you like 1.5 and then you'd figure out how you want to do it if it's for one semester or two. It kind of
Mm.
depends on how they wanted to distribute that, if that makes sense. So yeah.
Thank you. I feel like I got a bit of clarification there too. But did your agency help you at all to look for scholarships, or it was just the school that offered?
So you mean outside scholarship?
Not outside
Or
scholar. Yeah, like
which
any scholarship, basically.
from me, the scholarships I got entering into, the program was in the school. So the good thing about education is, I don't know if they've changed or how that works now. They had list of schools that were offering like full funding for international students. They had schools that would offer partial
Mm.
scholarship too. So, but then like I said, your SAT score, the other things that play a role in that. So I don't know if they had any, like, maybe a scholarship from the government, or maybe they had scholarship in their program, maybe to
Right.
help support certain students. But everything I got was, with the school. So yeah, that's how I put it.
Mm. Okay, yeah, because I know that people like they've also been asking how to get scholarships as an international student. So that's why I was
Mhm.
asking. So definitely your SAT scores and they're going to influence how much scholarship you're able to get.
Back then. So now I don't know if things have changed, but back
Back
then that was
then,
how it
that
was
was
for
how it
me.
was.
Yeah.
Okay, all right then. And next question is, how were you able to find the nursing school you went into? Or have you always did you want to do nursing?
So first year, I did my entire first freshman year, biology major pre-med. And by God's grace, my grades weren't even the problem. My sophomore year, I switched to nursing.
Mm. So you were able
Things
to
like,
switch. What?
yes. So not like, to answer your question, I wasn't always, sure that I wanted to do nursing. Like, I had come in with a different major, then I switched.
So this is for anybody out there that might be wondering if you are doing a different major, if they're able to switch. You were able to switch because you were already doing biology that was related to the prerequisites for nursing, right? Or did you need to take extra classes?
I did. I needed to take some. So some of them counted towards the nursing program, but some of them did not count. Like, I know statistics counted for both as prerequisites. Some biology courses counted. Of course, English will count, because
Mhm.
English in this thing is the same English,
It's
So
universal, yeah.
exactly. So they both, those English and some other courses counted. But then I needed to take like nutrition class, bio 126, which was
Yeah.
human nutrition. That wasn't part of the biology component. It was for nutrition. I took some extra courses, and it also made me take more credit hours as well. So let's say if I was taking like 14 credit hour like a
Mhm.
per semester, I would take 16, I would take 17 to kind of, balance it.
Okay. Did you have to stay longer in school because of that? Did it increase?
Hmm. If thinking about it now, I
Mhm.
spent an extra semester because my cohort that came in for graduated in summer, May of 2020, but
Mm.
I graduated in December. So actually it played a role.
Ah, okay. All right. But at least you're able to get into nursing. That's the most important part.
Yeah.
So now that you're in the school, were you able to receive scholarships while in school? Because that's another thing.
I was. But you really have to keep your ear down and your
Mm.
eyes open. Pretty much shine your eyes. So um I pretty much like spoke with the international office. I told them this is what's going on. Okay. the money is not there. It's not as if I can, fully fund myself, whatnot.
Okay.
And they had some incentives, like they had some like awards, let's say like a transition award type thing. So there was one time they had like a Ted and Mary scholarship, which was a one-time scholarship, right,
Mm.
for the year. So you have to write an essay, do some things, and then you apply. But it was not something that was just right there. You really have
Yeah, you
to,
actually.
be checking the website, seeing
Mhm.
if there are any updates. And then they also had like a need-based scholarship. The need-based scholarship was applicable when you were in the school. So it wasn't something that I could get coming in. It was something I could get while I was
Wow.
a current
Right.
student. Yes.
Mhm.
So, and then they look at different things. They look at, different criteria for that. Um, what else? And then they had like a Rotary scholarship. This wasn't like in the school. This was an outside organization. So you have to, of course, same thing, write an essay, you have to submit your GPA, and plead your case, essentially. And all these, even though they were not a very substantial amount, they helped tremendously to helping me pay my.
Hmm. All right. So your GPA does count.
Yeah. It does though. I
I
don't want to sugarcoat it. Honestly, if
I
you're
know.
if you're doing
That's
well,
why
the
I
better your
asked.
chances. Yeah, because I know of people that, didn't really have high GPAs, but were very involved in school. They were maybe like, the president of one club and they were actively involved. They had, some awards from organizations and they added everything to apply for certain funding. So the more involved you were, good. But then academically too, which is the main reason why you're going to school, which is honestly the reason why you're
The
there
only
to yeah, so you have to do well in school. And I know there are a few people that know about it, but I will just emphasize on it. Applying for like some type of award or scholarship with the university house. So what helped me was second year, third year of school, I applied to be a resident assistant, which is we call it RA. I think there are different terms for it. But what happens is the university housing would cover your room and board. So you don't have
okay.
to pay for room
Pay
and
for
board.
housing.
Exactly. But then in return, you have to, plan programs for residents. They have a number of responsibilities you have to do, but that really was the main, apart from tuition, because for international students, we're having out of state tuition because we're not from that state, right? Now, room and board housing, if you can have your housing secured,
Okay.
you just have to focus on how can I pay for
Tuition.
tuition only. So that really helps me, and doing well too, so that way they can keep retaining you till you graduate.
Right. So just to summarize what you said, or just to make sure I understand, so other people can also understand, is that you said that you were able to get scholarships to be able to pay tuition because of your GPA, some activities you've also done in school, and also because you applied to be a Hiii resident assistant. So, and what you do as a resident assistant is that you help around with the residents and help them out to settle in the hostels and stuff, and they were able to pay your housing. So once your housing is out of it, all you need to focus on was your tuition, right? That
Yeah.
makes sense. That makes sense. And is there any other way you can get scholarship or pay for? Because international student fee is very expensive. Amen. Yes, yes, because I feel like everybody can agree with me on that. So my whole point is money, money, money. And that's the question I've also been getting. Is there any
Yeah.
other way? Because the international students do not qualify for FAFSA, right?
No, not that I'm aware of. Unless if something has changed, but no, because that's federal
Right.
aid.
And are they able to work? Were you able to work apart from being a resident?
Yes. So, I think for most schools, during the school year, you can work 20 hours per week. And then I think during the summer, I was able to work 35 hours during the summer. That was the I don't know if it's across the board, like that's how everybody, does it in their school, or if it's just, if it depends on your school. If my school, 20 weeks, 20 weeks, 20 hours per week during the school year and 35 hours per week during like summer.
But another question is, are you able to work on campus or off campus during the summer?
Oh, that's a good question. For me, all the jobs I worked in school were on campus. But I know some people, I know of a few friends that had like internships, paid internship during the summer. So it was related to their major and they were still paid for it. So let's say, for example, you do like some type of, let's say, business, that's your major, right? And then you get an internship with maybe a bank, something that has to do with that line, but then it's paid. So I don't know how that would work out because it's also a class as well. It's like you take a class for the internship, but then that wasn't the route I took. So someone that did that will be able to explain in more detail.
Better. Okay, no problem. But I think I get what you're saying, because when you're taking internship, you're basically taking it for a class. So it's like school is still in section, but you're getting paid for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's another question I get a lot. Are you able to work off campus? So
I think you can, but just honestly, when in doubt, ask your international office. Because if someone, and you don't want to really depend or rely on what someone else tells you, because someone may say, "Oh, it's fine." Yeah, and even sometimes, even in the school, someone will say, "Oh, I did this, it worked, there was no issue." If you're having doubts or it sounds very, just go and ask your international office, and they should be able to walk you through that process.
I love that you said that. Thank you. Yeah, I love that. All right then. Yeah. So I feel like enough for the money. I feel like we've covered it a bit.
A little bit, yes.
And if you're not satisfied, please head over to our YouTube channel. I forgot to mention, she also has a YouTube channel. Please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Your YouTube channel's name is
Goodness Israel.
Goodness Israel. She adds a lot of what?
I think the same thing as my name. There's it's just Goodness Israel.
I'll leave it on the screen too, Goodness Israel. So check it out. She has a lot of videos about being a nursing student too. And now that she's a nurse, she's also still helping us. Thank you very much for your good work. You're doing the work of the Lord. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel too. And
please subscribe, like, share, comment, give her that.
You
know what to do. You know what to do.
I went all the way to pull her over from Texas. She's not even from here. I'm based in Massachusetts. I went all the way for you guys. All right then. So now that we've covered the tuition part, the money part, the housing part a bit more, I want to talk about the school. What states were you able to get into nursing school? Does the states matter? Because some states are cheaper. Does it matter?
I feel like it depends on the individual. I know there are people that, prefer warmer states than colder states, right? And I've heard people say, it depends on where the scholarship is. So if they give me scholarship in Alaska, I'm going to Alaska. If they give me in, Boston. But, everybody is different. And there are people that, their family can support them. They don't even need scholarship. They don't need funding. They are able to pay the out-of-state tuition. So you also have to put that into perspective. So if you're able to pay the amount, it's not an issue for you, then probably the state doesn't really matter, right? So because you can afford, even if it's like $15,000 per semester or $5,000, you can afford it all. Then the state probably will not be an issue for them. And then there are people that also prefer to go where Nigerians are. It's like, okay, please, so how many international students are there? Are they international students friendly, right? So you also have to put, everything into perspective. And what I would say is, regardless of where you go, just pray. Ask God to lead you. Ask God to, just direct your path because, I don't want to go into into too much detail, but then
Mm.
one thing that works for A may not work for B, right? Like for me, I went to school in Kentucky. I've heard people say, "Why did you go to Kentucky to school? Why did you do this?" But honestly, God wanted me to be there because the people I met, the connections I met, it worked out for me. For someone else, it may be Texas, it may be, somewhere different. So just do your research, ask questions, find out the resources the schools have, regardless of, where which states they are in. Do your findings, ask questions, and then ultimately pray and, allow God to lead you because you may even get like admission offers and scholarships to multiple schools. And
what was the name of the school you went to in Kentucky?
Northern Kentucky University.
Modern Kentucky University.
Northern. So
Northern.
Yeah, Northern Kentucky University.
How much were you paying per one semester?
I think it was like 15 grand in general, like 15 grand in tuition. I think.
In per year?
No, per semester, I think, including room and board. Well, honestly, I just look at the money because I don't want to give myself heart attack. Now, with the scholarships I had, they were, they would apply to the tuition I had. So even though it was 15, I would come in and I would see like 10 because maybe this scholarship has already reduced this amount. This one has reduced, different things. And then our room and board will also apply. That would reduce. So I may even see at the end of the day, I may say like 4 grand, and different things. So it was but I just to I just check. I check once. I say Jesus take the wheel. My dear, because it's like, how can I?
Yes.
And then normally in the summer, most of the international students that would work summer, so we can, offset some of the bills and just solicit for help.
Yeah, thank you. And I don't want to be like one of those, but throughout my process in nursing school in the United States, also, one thing I'm going to say is trust in God. There's been times where I've been like, where will I get the money to pay my tuition? Oh, you might be worrying about where you pay for tuition as an international student. It sounds like what I'm saying doesn't make sense, but trust in God. Because my reason for saying it is that during COVID, I don't know if you were still in school during COVID, but during COVID, we were able to get some financial aid from the government. Like, because of everybody is going through emotional problems because of the COVID, let everybody get $700 to their tuition. And that helped me greatly with my own fees back then. So trust in God. You might be wondering where the money would come from, and you see the way God will do it for you.
He comes through. I'm not going to lie to you. To be honest with you, most of the like balances that I had left, I don't know how God did it. And most of the times it was even like the 11th hour. It was last minute where they'll be like, you cannot register for the next semester before you, because like from our school they will tell you you have to have your balance under like $100 for you to be able to register. And I'm seeing like $3,000 that I have not paid. Wow. So I'm like, how am I supposed to do this? And I mean, there were times where you have sleepless nights because they'll send you an email. I got emails like, you have not yet paid your this thing. But I say, won't go back. You won't go. I'll come to the national office. I'll be like, I cannot afford this. What other, awards are there? What things am I eligible for? What can I apply for? Just asking questions and honestly asking for help, because sometimes you think, if I say something, they will think they would. If you need help, don't close your mouth.
Closed mouths don't get fed, though.
Don't close your mouth. Say something, ask questions. Find out if there are any opportunities here. Sometimes it could even be like an award from the program. So like we have African Student Union. I know most schools have like International Student Union Africa. They may have an event, and the events they would raise funds and decide to honor a student during that event, and it could be $500, it could be $200. So am I eligible for that? What do I have to do? Do I have to find out?
Exhaust your options.
Yeah, and ask God to help you ultimately.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good to help you. Apply for scholarships. One thing I would also say, I also apply, even though I'm not an international student, but I apply for scholarships. I apply for more than one scholarship. That's another. I know there's not a lot of scholarships open to international students that much, but apply for more than one scholarship always. Don't just give everything into one. If one doesn't take one, at least another one would take, even if it's $500. Okay, don't look down on any scholarship. Like, this one cannot do me anything.
It's not up to the
My dear, I've seen scholarship of $250 before. 250. I say for what? What do you want to use $250 for?
Stop, it will shock you. That amount, it will shock, even if it's for books. Like nursing school can be
That's true.
expensive,
That's true.
very expensive.
That's
If you
true.
have friends that you can borrow textbooks for from, good. But then during times of like exams and where it's nice to have your own material, that $250 scholarship or
That's
award that
true.
you're looking down, it will help you at least if
It'll
you
help
go
you.
find schools that bookstores that have discounts, and then use half, buy one book, use half, buy one, just to be able to you need all the help you can
All
get.
the help. Thank you. I'm glad you talked about the textbook part, so now I don't go. Okay, then. Yeah, so now we've talked about the tuition.
Okay. Let me quickly mention that I went to 4-year college because the amount I call doesn't it's not like the same amount for every school. There are people that go to community college and it could be a lot cheaper. So do your research. It doesn't have to be a 4-year school. It doesn't have to be how do I explain, like a big school as well. Like, like, oh, it has to be like Harvard or it has to be like Princeton. Like, you could find a school that you can afford and then even see if that school now has scholarship. So that way you're paying maybe little to none,
Little.
because every school has different, prices, and yeah. So do your research, find the one that it's affordable for you and act accordingly.
Yeah, thank you. I love that you said that, because you can also check my previous videos, please. I talked about going into a community college for nursing school. Before you go to nursing school, then transfer to university. Please check out my previous videos about that. Did you have to go to a community college first?
No, I just did a 4-year program.
Okay. So I had to go to a community college first. Please watch my videos that's going to explain that. So yeah, community colleges are usually cheaper. You can finish your nursing career there. Watch the video. I'm not going to talk too much.
The link will be somewhere on top. Click on it.
Okay. Yeah. So when you finally was about to apply into nursing school, because you have to apply again, right? Did you have to apply again?
Yeah.
What were the requirements? What did you need?
So once you complete your prerequisites, like your pre-nursing courses, honestly, it was based on your grades. If you had A's and B's, the higher your chance of getting.
So this video is mostly tailored to international students. So you might, if you feel like I'm not covering like how to survive in nursing school, all those things, that's not really the essence of those videos. If you want that, go watch our video. She has a very good one that I've also watched. I also have one so that you can also watch, So yeah, it's mostly for international students. So now that you are done being an international student, because we're going step by step. Now, the federal state of America is saying, please, auntie and uncle, pack your bags, alele, go back home. What do we do? Now, what do we do? So please explain to us the OPT and everything.
So I don't know if I can explain in detail. I'll just give a summary and then, you can do your research and, find out what the steps are with your school. I keep saying with your school because sometimes when you talk with, your international student friends, you hear some things that are slightly different. So just find out what your school process was. But when I finished, so before I graduated, I had applied for the OPT. I think there's a window. You can apply 60 days before you graduate up until 90 days after. There's like a window. But for me, I applied before I graduated. just so that I can, be on the safe side. And also, that was when COVID happened. So I finished in December 2020. So I think at the time I finished, there was a backlog of OPT applications. So the earlier you applied, at least DSO, designated school officer, or let me just say our international student guide, he was like, apply early because of COVID, there are so many, applications that have been pushed back.
Sorry,
Before
you go for, what are you applying to?
No, this is for the application of OPT.
Yeah, what are you applying to? What are you submitting your application to? To what body are you submitting it to?
USCIS.
Oh, thank you very much.
USCIS. So I applied before, and then even applying before I graduated, I still got my OPT card sometime in March. So I still got it further.
In December.
My sister.
Okay.
So I think that now made sense with what you were saying, that some people were experiencing,
Backlog.
late approval because, yeah. So, but then the good thing is when I got it, they did not push the date to OPT card to start from December. They gave me ample time. They gave me it to start from, I think, March or February, one of these things. So I was like, okay,
time.
Thank you. Because you have and I think you have, I can't keep track of all these numbers, please correct me if I'm wrong. But when you get your OPT card, you have a period of time that you have to start working. If not, you should be going back to your motherland, essentially. So then it's like, if you had a job, you have to let them know, okay, now I've gotten my OPT card, I can work legally, right? Now, if you didn't have a job, you have to go and find a job so that you can work within that time. You can start your job within that time frame.
What exactly is the OPT? What does it let you do?
So OPT is, I think the full name is optional training.
But you forget the full name. It's okay. Optional training particular for OPT.
So, but essentially, it allows you to work legally. Now, for most programs, you can work 1 year, 12 months, OPT. If your program is STEM, so your biology, your all the data, computer movement, your STEM, science, tech, engineering, and mathematics, you're in that program. You can renew your OPT for up to 3 years, I believe. When I finished, now I still have to do my research because I don't know if it was just my school or every school. Nursing wasn't STEM. So I could only work for 1 year. And then afterwards, you now have to either find an employer to sponsor you for you to have an like a green card or a H-1B visa, something that will allow you to continue to work, if that makes sense. I know most STEM programs they do H-1B. So when your OPT has expired and then you renew for up to 3 years, then you can switch to H-1B and eventually get your green card and become a US citizen. I'm not an expert in that, so I don't know. I don't know the date, but for me, it was just 1 year. You finish your OPT. Either you find maybe a sponsor or you go back to school and further. I know for people that went back to school for their masters, for another degree, for PhD, for different things. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. And as now to slim it down to being an international student that just finished from nursing, what are your chances of getting a job? Because I know some hospitals will say we don't sponsor. So how does that work now?
Good question. It's a very good question. It's a very good question. Your chances of getting a job, I don't know. It depends on the state. It depends on several factors. For me, most of the hospitals I applied to after graduation in Kentucky, they were like, they don't sponsor. That's actually one of the main reasons why I moved to Texas.
Thank you.
Sponsored. So you just have to do your research. If maybe also when you're doing your nursing clinicals in school, you find out this hospital, oh, I really like how they do things. I like this, I like that. Do they sponsor? Are they do your research? Ask questions. You can ask the nurse you're assigned with, you know, you can ask your preceptor. Like for me, my final semester of nursing school, that was when I was very,
More
I
into
started
it.
doing,
Yeah,
yeah,
of
I was
course.
doing my research and everything. It's not just agency sponsorship. Some hospitals do a direct hire. Like hospitals will sponsor you directly. You don't even need to do like a third party where it's like, okay,
Nice.
agency and it's like, okay, you and the hospital are having that contract, right? So, but then what I'm saying is that there are outlets where you can see, maybe list of hospitals that sponsor, what their requirements are. Some of them will tell you 2 to 3 years commitment to work. You have to fulfill certain hours, or just different things. Some of them will tell you, oh, we can sponsor, but then our hospitals that we work with are in a particular state. So now you have to ask yourself, can I move? Now you schooled, let's say in Chicago. Can I move to
Alabama.
Kentucky? My sister. So these are, life changing
Life
decisions that you have to
altering.
make. Yep, and you have to honestly be honest with yourself and see if you are that flexible. So because there are people that be like, no, I already have ties with where I'm at, with the school, with the state. I don't want to have to now make a move again. So some people will prefer to find organizations and hospitals that sponsor where they are only. And the people that be like, oh my, if you carry me go, and they follow you, they
Anywhere.
go. you know. So you have to weigh your options and see.
So basically, you can either get that hire from a hospital or you can get it through an agency that can employ you. And do these agencies help you eventually get a green card?
I can't speak for everybody. I don't know.
Mm.
I've heard stories. I'm not going to lie. I've
Mm.
heard stories, and and I've heard honestly, just do your research. Some agencies will say, now, if you know somebody in a particular agency that you're going,
That was so
ask
successful.
them exactly. Ask them, okay, how does this process work for you? Because information is out there, but you don't know which one is credible,
There's a
right?
lot, yeah.
So this one may say, we do this, and then when you go in, it's a different ball game. So if you know somebody or you know somebody that knows somebody, okay, how did this work? And they are willing to share that information with you, right? And also taking into consideration that what works for A may not work for B. I've heard people say, oh, when I worked with this, agency, everything was fine. There was no issue. This person was great. You gotta enter. Not be hearing stories like, hey, who said
Yeah.
me?
Anything happen.
Who said me? So just weigh everything and then, like I was saying, pray. Ask God to help you and direct you because it's only God that can direct your path, honestly. Yeah.
All right then. Thank you very much. I feel like we're able to cover a lot of stuff. I feel like we got some good info from our dear goodness here. Thank you very much for really sharing. I'm very grateful you're able to help us do this video. Thank you so much. And I think that's going to be the end of our video today. We're going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much. If you have any more questions, please leave them down in the comments below and we'll be able to answer them later, maybe in another video. Or you can head over to Goodness YouTube, and YouTube name is Goodness Israel. Follow on Instagram too. What's your Instagram name? On TikTok too. Goodness. All right. Me too. If you want to private message me on Instagram, my Instagram name is Jollof_nurse, I think. I'll leave it down in the comment. I don't know. But my main Instagram is also that Africa girl. You can also send me a DM there. I'll reply you on anywhere. You can follow me on TikTok. It's also called the Jollof Nurse on TikTok also. Private message me on TikTok. Follow me on TikTok. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much. I hope this is able to help somebody out there. And if you know somebody that knows somebody that is thinking of, I know they will not tell you, because Nigerians, them, they were traveling
Yeah.
abroad. But if you happen to hear that they want to go abroad, please share this video with them. Okay? Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.